Hey everybody, I'm going to be sharing this over with the page here, and we're going to get started with tonight's show, and it's going to be Orko. Um, for anybody that saw on Facebook while I was setting up just now, I keyed in, but hit the post instead of I hit the photo post instead of the video post, so that's why you guys may have liked that and it got deleted. Sorry if you did. Um, Bear with me just a second. I am pulling up second tab here to make sure everything's showing proper, and we are good to go. Okay, cool deal. Now I'm going to grab some Copics here and another marker or two from across the room. So we got that going on, and I'm going to get right on this. Now Orko has a hey Joe, David. Orko has this kind of purplish red type of outfit, and I'm going to go straight into this one with the red as the barrier first, as the foundation. And I know it's not quite the color that we're used to for him. It's more of a hot pink type of color in most cases. But I like using this red because it has more of a watercolor feel to it with these Artist Loft. And I just want to throw that down and get it going. Then I'll go over it with a Copic and make it look more like it's supposed to with the color range. But I just wanted to get this started with this because of the fact that I really like this and I want it to look like a more of a fabric color. And yes, I know I went out there, but I'll fix that right after we're done. When it sets in a few minutes, I'll go back and fix that. And I saturated the card there, so that happens sometimes with Artist Loft. And I'm trying to get better with oversaturating, or matter of fact, more so not oversaturating with these colors, because they have a watercolor type of effect and they run all over the place. And I'm trying to get a better handle on them. That's why I'm using them more often, because sometimes they work really well and then sometimes they run amok. And the only way to get good with these is to practice like crazy and really knock them out of the park. So that's the reason why I am doing that right now. That's why I do this series, you know, not to mention getting to hang out with you guys as part of the process, but it's all about getting better as an artist, you know. And I decided I wanted to give that a red tinge. That's the reason I went on his wrist there. But I didn't want to do it quite that heavy, but I guess I will anyway. And now I'll just shadow that out. But I'm experimenting with this card. Normally I would go in with like finished ready stuff so that you guys would get, you know, whatever it came out as. But this one is a true sketch card for me. This one is going to be an experiment because I love the character, love the look of it, love the feel of this the series itself. It's got a real classic vibe to it, and I'm trying to work the kinks out so that I can do a bigger piece, because I am not going to be coloring that He-Man with this stuff. Guaranteed. Not going to do it. And see, I let the tips hang out there with the without touching the paper, and that's not a dark. That is not black ink mixed in. That is the tip overfilling with the ink because it's tipped down and open to air. So it's kind of these brushes on these Artist Loft have kind of a, I don't know the easiest way to put it. They have kind of their own suction pull with the fabric of the brush itself. And like I said, they're running all over because they're watercolor. But the cool thing about them is that they definitely give you full saturation with the color. But it has kind of an overloaded water or coloring pin type of effect with like those preloaded ones where you can tap them to the color, and they'll you put water in them and you tap them to the color on the pad, and the tip will change, and it's kind of like a colorless transfer watercolor set. And the tip will stay light, but the colors will come through on it, and it's just wild to watch in action. And this is kind of the saturation that they get, where the fluid comes down into the brush to the point, and it turns the ink so dark because of the fact that it's sitting there. The color sits down in the tip where it gets concentrated, and it starts to turn really, really dark. So I'm trying to keep it a better pace. But like I said, with these, it's different, and some days I've got the finesse to do it, and other days it's just like, why did I even pick that thing up? It just really is. So, hey, Jim, nice that you made it, man. Yeah, that's awesome that you got to come on. If you guys want some inspirational guidance from a really cool guy, check Jim's stuff out at 10:30 every night. He's pretty awesome. He's a marketer like I am, and he's got the motivational stuff down pat. I'm more of a technical trainer. I like to motivate and inspire. That's what the Mental Rift was about. But I like to do more technical training where I show you how to get stuff done, and he's more of the he's got a lot of stuff going across the board, but he's definitely doing the motivational thing right now and nailing it. Very, very cool. I've got my bag of tricks next to the desk here. I'm going to switch over to a little bit of reference. Yeah, I like that. I'll leave that alone. I wanted to do something a little more traditional with the cartoon look, but I think I'm going to leave this as it is because I don't want to mess it up with this watercolor. I really don't. And in this, in a couple of incarnations, depending on the season you watch, Orko is actually more red. I just did a quick reference check to check the color scheme to make sure I had the right vibe, and I got to color that red in the back there. And I'm going to use this same purple to go over this so it'll look a little blue when it dries. So we have that going on because his skin is actually blue. It varies, it has a bluish gray look to it, and I really dig it. But I'm going with the bright blue. That's just me. But anyway, since I'm tearing this up like this, you're welcome, Jim, by the way. Since I did it this way, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in with the light blue and color that up, and then I'm going to touch it up with the other stuff. Let's see here. I want to go in with the pencil on this one for the skin because I want to get the right color, and I don't want to have to hunt for 10 minutes for the Copic in the desk grab bag. I keep them in a bag off my desk. I have this this big hanging bag that I keep them in, and it's plastic lined, and I keep them in that, and then I put them up at the end of the day. Because as I pull them out, I set them in the bag next to me because I know I'm going to reuse them for like comic pages or whatever it may be. And I keep them closed as the colors that are pulled so I can go back into them in small batches. But right now, I don't want to keep everybody all night, so I'm going to just move with the pencils and stuff, mixed media, and go right on ahead and knock this out so that we can have that done. Now I'm going to gray this out with a dark gray instead of going full on black, because I want to have a little more depth to it and a little bit of a raised look. So that's a cool deal. I'm getting all kinds of feedback on the side over here about the podcast, and I appreciate you guys checking that out so much. I'm going to color in this happy birthday blue as well behind his ear, and I've decided I'm going to put it in the same color, which I probably shouldn't have done, but I'm going to do anyway as a highlight. But anyway, I'm glad you guys are liking it. I know I put it out late, and it's been, a couple of days since we recorded it, and we wanted to have it out on Friday or Thursday, but I messed up with some technical difficulties because I put it on a brand new server, and those two servers that are there, the primary and the backup that site premiered on in that chain was brand new, and I shouldn't have put it on there until next week when it was propagated, but I didn't think about it at the time because I was in a hurry to get it up because the guys were waiting on it for their Kickstarter, and I ended up having a clash with mobile code, which is a big harsh thing for me to enjoy the idea of having to fix because of the fact that I am a coder and a programmer as well, and I don't really like messing stuff up, and my code is so secure that I pride myself on it, and I keep everything seriously high end as far as getting in there and getting it done and having it all protected and scrubbed out and all that. And I don't even allow right clicks on my pages where most people do. I don't allow people to review my source code or anything that they may find a directory hack in or whatever. And the mobile template on the site was messing up. It was askew and then wouldn't accept some of my code, so I had to fix it. But anyway, that's enough of that. But as far as this goes, I hear we're making another Iron Man movie, and it's rumored right now, but every time you talk about it, they say they're not making one, and then they say Robert Downey Jr. may be involved in the new He-Man movie too, and I was just like, I don't know about that. He definitely won't be playing He-Man if he's involved. He's not built for it, nor even remotely looks like him, but they're saying that he may be involved in that as well, and I was just like, And that's the reason I brought it up, and I was reading some research on it to see what we could find that would be possibly or even remotely connected to this whole thing, and I can't find a thing about it other than the couple of rumor mills. But I don't want to bash anybody, but Newsarama doesn't have the pull that they used to, and I don't just I look at that kind of like tabloid news. I'm very cautious about it, you know what I mean? And as we probably should be with any of that stuff, because they tend to go crazy with it and just put out whatever they want to anyway. But they are like, right out there with some of the bigger tabloid stuff now, and they just grab it whatever they want and throw it out. And I'm not screaming fake news or anything like that. I'm saying flat out that it's not as verifiable, and I hope that makes sense, but we'll see. Maybe we'll get lucky with it and they'll throw down and it'll be true, and we'll get an Orko character or in a decent looking model rather than the Masters of the Universe, which had Dolph Lundgren in it and a couple of other. It had solid actors for the time, but I wasn't impressed. And I was a huge He-Man fan, and I brought into all of it, no matter how campy it got. And, yeah, it was very disappointing. But it was a sign of the times, But I'm hoping we get a decent movie out of it, and we'll be able to find something out. And if I do get any feed on that, I will let you guys know, kind of like they did with the Alien movies in Volume 1 of the Kickstarter stuff, the comic Kickstarter stuff, excuse me. And, that was pretty cool. We got a lot out of that. Connecting Prometheus and Aliens and Blade Runner and all that fun stuff. Now, I'm just going to kind of spot these, but I'm going to leave them open. I'm not going to fill them out. And the reason for that is because of the fact that I want them to look glittery, shimmery, sparkly, that kind of thing. And it's hard to do that with these little sketchy stars on here. But I'm going to kind of put a little X over them. I think I'm just going to do that on purpose. It'll add a little shimmer to them and make them look a little different. That'll work. Cool. Now I will take my pen here. See which one I've got handy. I'll take this number 3 and go ahead and correct that hat where I went out of the line there. Checking everything over. Cool deal. Everything else seems to be in place already. Oop, one right there. You guys may or may not have noticed it, but I did. Anyway, with that said, you know, I thought they were too, but Disney, you can't trust Disney Marvel on that until you know what's going on, until you see it and see that, you know, like Hugh Jackman quit for 20th Century Fox, and I mean, he's like done, and now he's back at the negotiating tables for coming back as Wolverine into the Disney Marvel Cinematic Universe. So who knows? You know, you can't count them out until they're actually out and you just don't see them anymore. And that's only as short-lived as they decide to do it. So keep an eye out. You never know what you're going to see. But, you know, as of right now, I think that we're going to get a big shot in the arm from the cinematic universe right now across the board with things like He-Man coming up. Like I said, I know they're making a He-Man movie. They've been talking about that for 3 years, and they are doing the effects right now, and they've let screenshots out of that, you know, snippets and costume shots. They showed Battle Cat, which was engulfed in smoke, which looked pretty heavy, you know, and all kinds of things going on. So I'm hoping they live up to that and they do it. But, you know, the most exciting thing about any of it right now for me is the fact that we have not even the Black Panthers quite as impressive to me as the stuff we have coming up. You know, the Infinity War is going to be pretty big for me, and I'm wanting to see some other stuff come out of the Justice League. And I don't know if the Marvel, like I said, I don't know if the Marvel Cinematic Universe is going to hold up or not, because I enjoyed Ragnarok, but it hit the point to where at the end of it, it depressed me. And I mean literally depressed me, because I was just like, that's disappointing to see the ending for it. And I'm not going to spoil it for anybody if you haven't seen it. Hopefully you have by now, but nonetheless, I just had it hit me really strangely, and I was just like, okay, I'm not impressed. And the reason for that is because of the fact that what happened changed the direction, okay? Like I said, I'm not going to spoil it for anybody, but it changed the direction of the cinematic universe. So I'm kind of on the sidelines waiting to see what's going to happen, and we'll see. Hopefully it'll pick back up. I mean, it was a good movie for what it was. It was a great movie, but it was a bulkhead filler film for explaining why the Hulk and Thor weren't in Civil War. So, I mean, you know, it was a buddy movie, and I found that okay, and it covered like 4 or 5 different arcs, so I was okay with that. But the ending of it kind of bothered me, so I was just like, well, we'll have to wait and see. But anyway, I think we're going to get a He-Man movie out of this, though, because I keep seeing all this footage coming out. And it took so long for the Batman versus Superman film. I think we're going to get a big bang for our buck when He-Man comes out, too, because I think they're trying to do Lord of the Rings style quality to that, you know, that epic scale to make it really look good on. With the evolution of the effects since then, you know, it should look really good. But some of the effects, now that they've gotten so good with the effects that they have now, some of it, you know, you can watch it now and you'll be able to see the effect. Star Wars is really, really off kilter with that kind of thing as well. When The Force Awakens came out, I rewatched a couple of the prequels, and man, it was just a totally different ball game. Yeah, it was almost shameful in the way they did that, but that's just signs of the times, you know. So we're just gonna have to wait and see. But I think that's about it. I've got this one going on. Let's see. I like the new Thor, but I think, yeah, they did make the Hulk. Well, you got to consider he was depressed in that storyline. I'm not going to explain that for you, Jim. There's a story arc called Planet Hulk, okay, and the Hulk went on a rampaging bender basically, and it was because his wife Betty had died, and he killed her from his radioactive blood. He killed her from radiation poisoning of being with her. She got sick and got cancer and all this stuff and died, and then went on an emotional depression as Bruce Banner and became the Hulk and went on a rampaging storm, and the Avengers sent him off in a rocket to space, and he ended up on the planet that became Planet Hulk and all that. And he had, the timeline was different. It was an alternate reality, alternate space zone. I think he went through a wormhole, which gave him time lapse and all this stuff. And he came back, what was a couple of years to us in the Marvel Universe. He was already gone for like 20 years. And it happened in an instant where he came back with a son, had a whole life on this other planet where he became a warlord, Conan style, and then came back to Earth as this barbarian, tattooed Hulk. So what you got in Ragnarok was a little tiny pinch of that. So you got to keep that in consideration and, perspective. But if you want to learn more about it, check out Planet Hulk. They even have a 90-minute or 2-hour animated version of it, a Marvel movie, and you can check that out, and it'll help you out a lot with those details and filling those in if you don't know what that storyline's about. But yeah, check out Planet Hulk, and you'll find out why he was depressed. So that's why he didn't give a crap about anything going on in the world. So, but I hope that helps. But yeah, that's exactly it, man. That's where they took that core material from. But they went even deeper in the comic books, way more deep into it in the comic books. Way more deep. Jeez, I am tired. At a way deeper level. Wow. But anyway, yeah, they took it at a deeper level and broke it down to where he was like depressed and right before he went rampaging, and that was the reason for his rampage and all that good stuff. So you can break that down and see it. But there's like 5 graphic novels in that thing. But if you watch Batman versus Superman, same thing. It's like 5 or 6 different graphic novels in there. The Dark Knight, Frank Miller's Dark Knight was the Dark Knight Returns was the primary theme throughout that thing. But if you look at some of the other stuff, there was Flashpoint in there where Flash turned up into Bruce's dream, and it was actually not a dream. He was asleep at the Batcave computer, and woke up with that wormhole opened up in front of his face. And, that actually happened. It wasn't a dream. But he thinks it was because he was exhausted. But then you have the Desert Dream, which goes into some of the other future stuff. The later Batman, the Dark Knight Returns and the other stuff going on. So, where he and Superman confront each other. It's just a crossover of a bunch of different stuff. But that's where it comes from. But anyway, the long and short of it is that it was a good film for what it was, and I'm hoping that they do better. But I would love to see this one happen as soon as possible because I think it would be a great one. But that's it for me tonight. I am going to be back at regular time tomorrow between 2 and 4 p.m. hopefully, because now I've got these podcasts up and everything's rocking and rolling, and it's a whole new schedule because of a bunch of content getting to come out. And I've got Night of the Living Dead coming up here in about a week on the webcomic starting right after the first week of February, which we're just a couple of days from that starting up. And I've got to get everything underway. So thanks for hanging out with me. You guys are awesome. Check out the ComicKickstarter.com podcast, the Comic Kickstarter show, and be sure to watch out for the comics and stuff coming up, as well as the how-to. The how-to series is coming up this month, and more cards coming at you every day, as you know. So talk to you tomorrow.